Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Paul and this is video number 3 of 5 of Starsight by Sanderson. We're covering pages 200 to about 308, right before the 4th part. So in chapter 20 we get some more information about the different alien species. Mortimer is known as a draft. They are an unborn dione. Vapor is a figment, which is basically a localized set of particles that can take over electrical components of a ship. They are basically a deadly smell, which is hilarious and really frightening at the same time. They are very good spies, and there are only a few of them left. The new flight squad is number 15. Mortimer informs them that the superiority would never give them individually a ship capable of hyperdrive because they are seen as lesser species. So the idea of stealing like a single ship is basically kind of gone. They would have to steal like this really big carrier type ship that has the hyperdrive technology. Also, Spencer is thinking that maybe the superiority might be lying about the hyperspace technology, and they are actually using cytonics without people realizing it. Then in chapter 21, the flight is going to train at a Delver complex. This is basically a recreation of what the middle of a Delver is like. It is a maze that is constantly moving and trying to kill you. The practice area was created by humans, but the superiority found it. Vapor is now the squad leader. In chapter 22, they enter this maze-like Delver arena. And as they enter it, Spencer basically realizes, okay, they need serious work to fly together or they're going to get destroyed. So she becomes just like Cobb in book 1 and calls everyone names and tries to get them motivated to fly better and not be too aggressive. But it kind of backfires because she ends up being like too aggressive, but they end up getting the hang of it and start to fly together more so. At the end of the chapter, Vapor and Spencer are going to check out the Delver maze more closely. So in chapter 23, they are going into the Delver maze to see what it's like, to see what the humans built in order to train to go in and attack the Delvers. The maze can cut communication. It can even create hallucinations for the pilots that are flying in it. Vapor mentions that Spencer's aggression seems very human-like, which is kind of scary for Spencer, because she is like trying to be Alanic, this totally different species. I think Vapor might have been connected with attacking Spencer and her friends and like the people on Detritus somehow, because there's like a little bit of an idea that Vapor is really old, that maybe Vapor has something to do with like the wars against the humans. When she was inside this maze, Spencer saw herself like in like the pitch blackness as herself, not as Alanic, but as Spencer the human, and it kind of freaked her out, but no one else saw it. So in chapter 24, Spencer gets back to Starsight and is catching Mbot up with everything that happened. The important thing to note is that when they hyper jumped, Spencer interfered somehow, and the leader of the ship, which was Winzik, was communicating to the engine room wirelessly. And they don't really know why they would be communicating wirelessly like that. When they jumped, Spencer heard this like really loud scream again, and all the Delvers like kind of looked towards that scream. So I'm wondering if maybe every time they are actually jumping, they're using a cytonic in a way that is harming them, maybe even killing them. So if they kill the cytonic right after jumping, maybe that's why the Delver can't see them. I don't know. So then in chapter 25, the flight squad continues to practice. We find out that Hesho from Hesho that there are wormholes that use the nowhere to transport people and things. This is how Hesho's people got acclivity stones. The same markings that are on these wormholes are in the Delver training area, but more importantly, where Spenza found Mbot in that cavern under detritus, there are those markings that might infer that there's a wormhole on detritus. Spenza has an episode again while in the Delver training maze where she looked at the universe and she looked at everything like the Delvers look at things, like people or ants that are infesting the universe and all this stuff, and it kind of freaked her out. So the more she is training around this Delver training area, the more that she is kind of thinking like them a little bit, which is a little scary. Chapter 26, Spenza tries to be stealthy and goes to the restroom near the engine room of the ship. She is trying to gain more information about the engine room and the hyperjump device. While she's talking to Hesho, she finds out that his species tried to steal the technology in the past, but once they took the ship, the hyperdrive, like the cube, was empty, kind of like how Mbot's hypercube drive is empty. This even more supports my idea that they're using actual cytonics to jump, and they are just running away afterwards, like after they've been stolen, and they're just jumping themselves, or it's just like a whole ruse that, in fact, they are using just people to hyperjump. In 27, we find out that Spenza is creating a spy drone out of a cleaning drone to put on the ship with the hyperdrive. So they basically want to use Mbot's hologram technology to help camouflage a drone. Then Mbot says that he's kind of creating his own child, and his systems like seize up really badly. So it seems that his programming is very strict on him recreating himself or a version of himself. Mbot is kind of afraid that whoever built him was afraid of him. So what could Mbot do to people if he could replicate himself and have more free will to like fly around and use his weapons? So he's a little bit concerned that maybe he is like a monster of some kind. So at this point, Murmur comes and visits. They're on break from training, and they go for a walk. Spenza and Murmur go for a walk at a bubble garden. While there, Spenza kind of realizes that they aren't at war with this horrible, terrible entity of the superiority, but that the superiority is made up of these normal, everyday people and children. There might be horrible people at the top making the decisions, but there are normal, everyday people in the superiority. Murmur actually sees Doomslug, and he gets all scared because Doomslug is supposed to be super toxic. But after Murmur leaves, Spenza sees a news channel that shows detritus and a caption about the human scourge escaping. This makes me wonder if perhaps the superiority is actually training Spenza to attack the humans and not really the Delvers. So like all this training with all the different flights, they're actually training them to attack the humans and not the Delvers. So the people of the superiority are really angry that the human species is getting stronger on detritus. They thought that they gave them a war to fight to keep them preoccupied. That's what they're doing with the Krell. They're giving them these drones, like a war to fight, and just to be kind of busy so that they won't gain much ground and they won't gain the technology that they can use to then leave the planet. So Spenza is pretty upset about this. Spenza is speeding up her plan to get info about the hyperdrive, and she's even using the drone that they're smuggling in to take pictures of the hyperdrive. She's using that to smuggle a gun as well. So I'm not sure if that's gonna work out for her, but she's starting to get desperate. So basically that was those 100 pages, and yeah, it's getting good. I'm excited to see what will happen once she tries to get information about the hyperdrive, and to finally see that big reveal, and to find out if the setting and the action is going to return to the treatise. I have an idea that possibly the people that are at Starsight might then go to the treatise and like attack the humans, but Spenza will try to do something to save everybody. So she's stuck in the middle. She's making friends on both sides, and I feel bad for her a little bit. Anyways, I will see you with the next video where I will cover pages 300 to 400. So only about 200 pages left in the book, and it is good, and I am enjoying it.